Welcome to the Great Soul Awakening, transforming pain into peace, purpose, and spiritual wholeness by Reverend Teresa Heipel, Master Divinity Counseling. What if your deepest grief could turn into your greatest awakening? Let me take you back to a time when I felt completely disconnected from my own spirit. I was going through what I can only describe as a wounded season. Each morning, I would force myself out of bed, feeling a heavy weight that felt pressed down on my chest as if carrying an invisible load of bricks. I was carrying the weight of old hurts, disappointments, and broken dreams. I remember one morning staring at the bathroom mirror, hardly recognizing the weary woman looking back at me. Have you ever felt like that? Like your spirit is aching for healing, for a release? Take two. Take all that out. Lovely. All right. Microphone's going in. The external one. All right. At the beginning. All right. Good. Welcome to the Great Soul Awakening, transforming pain into peace, purpose, and spiritual wholeness by Reverend Teresa Heipel, Master Divinity Counseling. What if your deepest grief could turn into your greatest awakening? Let me take you back to a time when I felt completely disconnected from my own spirit. I was going through what I can only describe as a wounded season. Each morning, I would force myself out of bed, feeling a heavy weight that pressed down on my chest, as if carrying an invisible load of bricks. I was carrying the weight of old hurts, disappointments, and broken dreams. I remember one morning staring at the bathroom mirror, hardly recognizing the weary woman looking back at me. Have you ever felt like that? Like your spirit is aching for healing, for release? I knew if I didn't find a way to heal, I might never truly live again. If that resonates with you, if you've ever felt that deep longing to heal and reclaim your inner power, then this is for you. Today, we're diving into the heart of what it means to heal those wounds on a soul level. Can you imagine what it would feel like to wake up excited and at peace instead of weighed down? Stay with me because that's what I want for you. You might ask, is spiritual soul healing even possible? And I believe it is. It can be as simple as opening up and allowing that process to begin. In the next several minutes, you'll discover the keys to releasing decades of hurt and stepping into peace and joy again. In 2025, approximately 22.8% of U.S. adults, or 57.8 million people, are affected by mental health conditions, with significant disparities among demographics and alarming trends among youth. Millions are struggling silently. Maybe you are too, which is why this is so important. Today, I'm going to reveal 3 soul healing secrets that took me from that dark place to where I am now. I invite you to stay open as we go through this journey together. Let's set aside the doubts, the distractions, and focus on giving our spirits a moment to heal. As we move through each slide today, I encourage you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart too. Perhaps like me, you've lost someone dear, or seen your children grow and feel an unexpected emptiness in your soul. I know that's heavy, but I need you to hear this because it leads to something beautiful. So, are you ready to explore what it takes to truly heal and reclaim the power that's already within you? To tap into a peace and strength that's been waiting for you to reach out? If so, let's begin this journey of healing together, one step at a time. If you stick around, I have a great free If you stick around, I have a free Great Soul Awakening checklist for you at the end. Now we are going to talk about why you are here. Then I will tell you more about who I am and talk about the state of the soul. There was a time in my life when I felt stuck, lost, and completely disconnected from my purpose. I remember waking up one morning with an overwhelming heaviness, questioning why I felt so out of place in my own life. No amount of external success or approval could fill the void inside me. That's when I knew I needed to make a change. I turned inward and began asking myself, what lights me up? What brings me joy and peace? Slowly, as I spent more time in prayer and self-reflection, I discovered that my purpose wasn't something I had to create. It was something I had to uncover. Like a treasure buried deep within, it had been there all along, waiting for me to dig through the noise of life to find it. That journey not only led me to my purpose, but taught me how to help others reconnect with theirs. If you feel stuck, lost, or disconnected, know that this feeling is often a signpost. It's your spirit's way of telling you that there's a deeper calling awaiting your attention. The first step is to quiet the external distractions and listen. The first step is to quiet the external distractions and listen to the whispers of your soul. Ask yourself, when do I feel most alive? What activities or moments give me peace and fulfillment? What breaks my heart and makes me want to help or heal? These questions can guide you toward the path your soul is yearning to take. Here's a simple tool to start reconnecting with your purpose. Spend 5 minutes each morning writing down one thing you're grateful for and one thing you're curious about exploring further. Answer the question, if I could do anything today without fear or limitation, what would it be? I invite you to close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths and visualize yourself living a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. What are you doing? Who are you helping? What emotions fill your heart? These small but powerful steps can help you rediscover the truth of who you are and the purpose you are meant to fulfill. I promise I wouldn't be here talking about this if I hadn't lived it myself. So let me briefly share who I am and why these secrets changed my life. For much of my life, I walked through seasons of deep pain, grief, spiritual confusion, and physical challenges that left me questioning my purpose and even my identity. There were days I barely recognized the woman in the mirror. I felt disconnected from my own spirit, burdened by old wounds, and unsure how to rebuild what life had taken from me. If you've ever felt that way, lost, unseen, stuck, or carrying a weight you quite can't name, I want you to know something important. If you've ever felt that way, lost, unseen, stuck, or carrying a weight you can't quite name, I want you to know something important. You are not alone and you are not broken. Your soul is calling you home. My healing journey began the day I finally listened to that call. Through prayer, spiritual discernment, intuitive guidance, and energy healing, I slowly began uncovering the pieces of myself that trauma, loss, and life had buried. I discovered that true healing doesn't come from numbing our pain. It comes from honoring it, understanding it, and allowing God to meet us in the deepest places of our soul. As I healed, I realized something powerful. I was being called to help others do the same. I'm a reverend with a Master of Divinity and years of pastoral experience in rural churches where I walked alongside individuals through life's most tender moments: grief, transitions, crisis, transformation. But my calling didn't stop at the pulpit. I was led toward shamanic energy healing, spiritual counseling, and soul restoration work, blending ancient practices with Christian mysticism, compassionate listening, and intuitive insight. I discovered that many women carry unspoken wounds, lifelong emotional pain, loss of a spouse or loved one, family connection, family disconnection, trauma from childhood or past relationships, spiritual exhaustion, feeling unseen, unheard, or forgotten. And so many of these women have tried everything: therapy, books, prayer, distraction, yet still feel stuck. Not because they are broken, but because they've never had anyone guide them to the root of their soul pain. That became my mission. I created the Great Soul Awakening, a 6-month transformational program designed to heal the soul at its deepest level. Through one-on-one spiritual counseling, energy healing, reflective practices, and compassionate guidance, we walk together through healing grief and long-held trauma, releasing guilt, shame, and emotional patterns, restoring the broken pieces of the soul, rebuilding purpose and renewed identity, awakening joy, clarity, confidence, and peace. This is not surface-level healing. This is soul-level transformation. And you don't walk it alone. I walk beside you every step of the way. Whether you're grieving a loss, navigating painful transition, feeling spiritually disconnected, or simply longing for peace, I want you to know there is hope, there is healing, and there is a way forward. You are a precious soul. You are loved by God, and there is still purpose, joy, and beauty waiting for you, no matter your age, your past, or your pain. If your heart is whispering, something needs to change, I can't keep living like this, that is your soul calling you home. I would be honored to walk that journey with you. If you feel a pull toward this work, trust it. You deserve peace, you deserve healing, and your soul is ready to awaken. Why are you here? You may be listening to this and watching this because of grief, loneliness, spiritual confusion, trauma, relationship patterns, feeling lost or disconnected, or a longing for something deeper. Three secrets to reclaiming your soul. The state of the soul today. Recognize the real cause of your pain. Secret number 2, why people don't change. Understand what's at stake. Secret 3, why you have to change now. Awakening is possible and powerful. Secret number 1, the state of the soul. You are stuck because your soul was wounded, not because you are weak. Looking back, I realized I had what I call soul loss. I'll explain that term in a second. There are many things that can cause what I call soul loss. That's when pieces of our spirit feel like they're missing or broken due to traumatic or hurtful experiences. Soul loss is when life's hurts dim your inner light. You feel like a part of you is missing. I see now that so many of us, perhaps even you, walk around with pieces of us missing or dimmed, which brings me to the first secret, the true state of the soul today. My life was once marked by the same kind of pain you're going through. I truly know how it feels. When Elena was young, her household always felt tense. Her father never hit anyone, but his words cut just as deeply. He belittled her mother, controlled every decision, and made Elena feel like she was always walking on eggshells. Elena didn't think anything was wrong. She assumed all families were like this. As she grew older, she found herself in relationships where partners spoke harshly, criticized her, or withdrew affection when she didn't comply. It felt familiar. It felt like home. It wasn't until a close friend gently asked, do you know that love doesn't feel like fear? That something inside her shifted. It took time, but Elena began to learn that love should feel safe, supportive, and respectful. She realized the patterns she considered normal were actually wounds asking to be healed. Her healing began not with blame, but with awareness. Elena's awareness was the start of her reclaiming her confidence. Toxic relationships can shape how we understand love, trust, and self-worth. When someone grows up surrounded by abuse, whether physical, emotional, or psychological, that environment becomes their baseline. Familiar does not mean healthy. Elena's soul had been wounded so young that dysfunction felt normal to her. How many of us have wounds we've carried so long we think they're just part of us? Abuse that leaves no bruises can still leave deep scars. It often reappears later in life through people pleasing, difficulty setting boundaries, accepting disrespect, fear of speaking up, believing less love must be earned, believing love must be learned, believing love must be earned. Recognizing these patterns is the first step. Healing does not mean blaming ourselves or others. It means telling the truth about what happened and choosing something better. Do you see how that works? Maybe you didn't have an abusive father, but think, did you grow up with a certain hurt that you now see replaying in your adult life? I am stuck because of X. Use this simple practice to notice whether a relationship, past or present, supports your well-being. What am I feeling? Identify emotions in your body: tightness, anxiety, fear, heaviness, numbness, peace. What happened? Describe the event without judgment. What was said or done? What does this remind me of? Ask if the feeling or dynamic is familiar from childhood or past relationships. This helps connect present reactions to old patterns. With that awareness, you can begin choosing new responses like setting boundaries, seeking support, or stepping away. Awareness is not the end of healing, it is the doorway to it. Elena's story didn't end there. Once she realized her soul was wounded, she was able to start healing it, just like you can. If you resonate with Elena's story, nod your head. This is a part of the Great Soul Awakening process to find your light bulb turning on, so to say, to realize that awareness is the doorway to healing. As your spiritual teacher, I would guide you to your own Great Soul Awakening. When Daniel's youngest daughter left for college, he felt proud. He had raised strong, capable children who were ready for the world. The house grew quieter, and for the first time in years, his evenings were still. At first, he enjoyed the peace, but soon, an unexpected sadness crept in. He missed the laughter in the hallway, the backpacks by the door, the nightly dinners, even the chaos. He wondered, why am I grieving? No one died. He tried to brush the feeling aside, telling himself he should be happy. But the emptiness surprised him. One night at dinner with friends, he finally shared what he'd been feeling. A friend gently said, "You're grieving a chapter that mattered." Daniel realized that grief isn't only about losing a person, it's about losing anything that once held meaning, a home, a job, a routine, a role, a dream. And just like any loss, it deserves to be felt. Grief is not one size fits all. It is the natural emotional response to losing something that mattered. We often reserve grief for the death of loved ones, but many life changes carry their own kind of loss. The death of someone close, losing a job, a relationship ending, moving away from home, empty nest, a loss of identity or purpose. Each of these creates a shift, a place where something familiar is gone. Some losses feel deeper than others. The death of a loved one lands differently than the loss of a job. Both matter, but the emotional layers are not the same. Still, all grief asks to be felt. When we ignore it, we disconnect from a piece of ourselves. In spiritual terms, grief can feel like a loss of soul, an inner hollow place where something once lived. Honoring grief is not about dwelling in sadness. It's about allowing ourselves to acknowledge change and integrate the experience so we can move forward. A simple way to bring presence and compassion to your grief. Name the loss. What changed? A person, a role, a dream, a place? Write it down or say it aloud. Feel the feeling. Allow the emotion to be present. Sadness, anger, confusion, relief. No emotion is wrong. Place your hand on your heart and breathe slowly. Ask, what did this give my life? Love, purpose, routine, belonging, hope. Honor what it meant. Bless the transition. Say a simple phrase. Thank you for what you brought. I release what has passed. I welcome what is next. This helps shift the nervous system from gripping the loss to gradually integrating it. Grief is not a sign of weakness. It is a testament. Grief is not a sign of weakness. It is a testament to how deeply we have lived and loved. Daniel, now aware, was able to fill his life with new meaning. Does any of that hit home for you? Maybe you're picturing that piece of yourself that got left behind in a bad relationship or when you lost someone. Put your hand on your heart if you've ever felt like Daniel, missing something you can't quite name. Elizabeth never imagined she would become a widow at 55. Her husband David was 10 years older, but he had always lived with a bright spark inside him. He was the kind of man who worked hard, laughed easily, and loved deeply. For most of their marriage, he was strong, the one who carried the heavy boxes, drove the late night trips, fixed the broken things, and held the family together with steady hands. But then his health shifted, slowly at first, then all at once. Doctor's appointments, medications, sleepless nights, hospital rooms. It all became their new normal. Elizabeth watched the man she loved fade in front of her, piece by piece, and along the way, she lost parts of herself too. When he finally slipped away after months of decline, it wasn't peaceful for her. It was devastating, because with his last breath, something inside her life ended too. Elizabeth's grief wasn't just about losing her husband. She was grieving What was, their shared history, the quiet moments, the routines, what might have been, the retirement trips they talked about, the grandchildren he'll never meet, the milestones he will miss, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, the stability he brought, emotional, financial, practical, the partnership they had built, one that took decades to form. Every morning she woke up, there was a moment, just a breath, where she forgot he was gone. Then reality washed over her like cold water, and she had to learn her life all over again. Elizabeth now had two teenagers still at home, adult children starting their own families, bills to manage alone, a house to take care of, decisions to make without a sounding board, a future she never planned for. She used to share the weight. Now the weight lived only on her shoulders, and she felt that heaviness every single day. Nights were the hardest. The empty side of the bed, the silence where his voice used to be, the absence of someone to say, "We'll figure it out." Even simple things hurt. His empty chair, the smell of his shirts, the voicemail she couldn't bear to delete. Her grief wasn't only emotional, it was physical. It lived in her chest, her throat, her stomach. Some days she felt strong, other days she felt like she was held together by nothing but prayer and habit. Elizabeth wasn't just grieving a husband, she was grieving the woman she was when he was alive, the marriage that defined her adult identity, the safety of being part of a pair, the future she'd assumed she'd share, the role she no longer had. People said, "You're strong," but she didn't feel strong. They said, "Time will heal," but time didn't fix the empty house, the lonely decisions, the aching spiritual questions. Their children tried to support her, but she didn't want them to carry her pain. They were grieving too. So Elizabeth learned to function, paying bills, going to work, keeping her home, while her soul felt it was floating between the life she had and the life she didn't know how to live. One morning, after a night of sudden tears she couldn't explain, Elizabeth whispered a prayer. "God, I don't know who I am now, and I don't know how to do this alone." It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, it was simply real. And that moment, that simple honesty, was the beginning of her awakening. She didn't suddenly feel better, but she felt seen, maybe for the first time since the funeral. The path ahead was still long, but for the first time, she sensed that her soul didn't need to stay shattered. There was healing to be found, a new identity to grow into, a new life with God waiting to unfold, a new life, a new relationship with God waiting to unfold, a new life, different, yes, but still meaningful, still sacred. Elizabeth's story is a story of so many women carrying grief, carrying life, carrying everything alone, and yet still holding a spark inside them, a quiet longing to feel whole again. When Lila was young, her home was unpredictable. No one talked about feelings. No one apologized. Her mother was harsh with her words. "You're too sensitive. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about." Her father was silent and distant. She learned early that love felt like withholding, criticism, and fear. As she grew up, Lila chose partners who didn't listen, who dismissed her emotions, who praised her only when she performed perfectly. It felt familiar. It felt like home. One day, a friend gently asked, "Does a person who loves you make you feel safe?" She froze. She had no answer. It was the first time she realized she had never known what safety felt like. Her normal wasn't normal, and it certainly wasn't love. Toxic relationships can begin. Toxic relationships can begin long before adulthood, when children witness or experience abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, or psychological. It shapes their understanding of love. Because it's what they know, they grow into adults who accept disrespect, struggle to set boundaries, believe their needs are too much, confuse chaos with passion, think they must earn love. Physical and sexual abuse are easier to recognize because they leave visible marks, but emotional and psychological abuse can be just as damaging, often more so because it hides behind silence, dismissal, and control. The wounds don't show on the body, they show in how a person lives. Over apologizing, people pleasing, fear of expressing feelings, choosing partners who repeat old patterns. No form of abuse is ever acceptable. Learning this truth is often the first step toward healing. A simple way to begin recognizing unhealthy relationship patterns. Ask yourself, how do I feel in this relationship? Safe or fearful? Do you feel small, anxious, invisible? Name what is happening. Was your boundary ignored? Were your feelings dismissed? Naming the behavior breaks the spell of normal. Offer yourself compassion. It makes sense that I struggle with this. I learned it young. Then choose one supportive action. Reach out to someone safe. Journal what happened. Take space to breathe. Seek professional or spiritual guidance. Each time you practice this, you strengthen your inner sense of safety and begin rewriting the story of what love can look like. You did not choose the wounds, but you can choose the healing. This is the great soul awakening, moving from inherited belief to embodied knowing. So if soul loss is so common and we're all a bit stuck, why don't we just change it? What's stopping us from healing those wounds? That is the state of the soul today. We're walking around wounded, and often we don't even know it. It's a silent epidemic. It's a state of emergency for our souls. Other soul wounds. Soul pain can come from addiction, betrayal, divorce, spiritual crisis, loss of identity, health challenges, caregiving, aging transitions. If so many of us are walking around wounded, why hasn't anyone fixed it? Why don't we change? That's exactly what secret number 2 is about. Most people don't change, not because they're weak or broken, but because real change requires discomfort. To transform, we must sit in the unfamiliar long enough for it to become our new normal. But most of us weren't even taught how to be uncomfortable without running, numbing, or shutting down. So we go back to old patterns because they feel safer, even when they are painful. Think back to secret number 1, the state of the soul. Chances are you saw pieces of your own story there, as if someone read your private journal. How is that possible? Because these experiences are universal. So many of us carry wounds we don't fully understand. We go to therapists for years hoping something will shift, but often nothing changes. Why? Because we don't know what we don't know. Most of us have buried emotional pain so deeply in the body that we no longer recognize its roots. We treat symptoms, but not causes. And here's the surprising part. Many of our physical problems do not begin as medical issues, they begin as emotional ones. You may have heard the saying, your issues are in your tissues. It's true. Every emotion stores itself somewhere in the physical body. Your pain is stored in the body, and your soul speaks through your body. Now we are going to transition to secret number 3, why you must change now. Awakening is possible and powerful. Your soul has been waiting long enough. Awakening your soul brings peace, clarity, and transformation. In church services, there is a passing of the peace. We say, peace be with you. We need to say, peace be within you. Peace be within you. How does that feel? Peace be within you. Before, you may have felt as if you're holding your breath. After you hear peace be within you, after you hear peace be within you, it's as if the breath you have been holding has been released. It's that moment. Whether we feel ready or not, change is happening. We are living in a time when old ways no longer work. Systems, beliefs, and structures that once gave us direction have stopped serving us. Yet many continue to look away, hoping things will return to normal. They won't. And that's not a bad thing. It's an invitation. Our country is shifting rapidly. Uncertainty has become the new normal. What felt stable yesterday may feel unstable today. This isn't just political or cultural, it's spiritual. People everywhere are sensing that the old paradigm has run its course. This is why change is no longer optional. It is necessary for our evolution. For instance, a lot of people used to just push their feelings down and soldier on. It doesn't cut it anymore. We see the fallout of unresolved pain everywhere. We are living in unprecedented times of change. You feel it, I feel it. It is time for a great soul awakening. When you begin to grow, heal, and transform, the people around you will notice. They'll ask, what's different about you? And how can I learn what you've learned? This is leadership, not the loud, forceful kind, but the quiet, authentic kind that begins within. You don't have to change the whole world. You only have to begin with yourself. As you engage in intentional interchange through conscious practices, emotional healing, and spiritual alignment, you become a beacon. Your transformation creates a ripple effect. The person you were begins to evolve. You peel back layers that have been numb, ignored, or deeply buried. This process may feel uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. It simply means you're waking up. It may be time to feel again because feeling is how we change. Many of us know the law of attraction. What we focus on expands. If we constantly complain, we invite more experiences that validate our complaints. If we choose gratitude and bless the good in our lives, we attract more of what nourishes us. It's like the Bible says, you reap what you sow. When you sow gratitude, you reap blessings. I recently saw an 80-year-old client heal decades of grief. It's never too late. Change is a choice. No one can force it on you. But if you are tired of being tired, tired of repeating the same patterns, tired of feeling stuck, then this is your opportunity. A shift from the inside out is possible at any age. This is your moment to begin the journey, to reconnect with your soul, awaken your purpose, and transform your life. Even if you have a lot on your plate, the small amount of time you invest in your soul will pay dividends, not just for you, but for everyone you care for. You've already lost enough time to sadness. You don't want to lose another year, right? At 70, 60, or 80, you know time is precious. Every moment burdened by unresolved pain is a moment of joy we miss. I don't want you to miss anymore. The Great Soul Awakening is not about escaping the world. It's about becoming the fullest version of who you are, and that begins right now. So the question isn't is if you should awaken, it's will you answer that call now? In fact, you've already stated that by being here. Now I want to help you to take the next step to actually experience this awakening in your life. One client of mine didn't start her deep healing until 72. She told me she feels more alive at 75 than she did at 45. That's the power of awakening. It's never too late to reclaim your light. Just look at Grandma Moses, who started painting in her late 70s. When you awaken, new life can begin at any age. The fact that you're here, listening to this, still reading along is not a coincidence. It means some part of you is already awakening and seeking this. This is your moment. I truly believe you are hearing this message at the exact right time for you. When you heal yourself, it creates a ripple of good in the world. But most importantly, it transforms your world. The world around us is in upheaval, which might be why you feel extra lost or anxious lately. The old comforts don't work. That's why your inner transformation is not just optional, it's necessary to thrive in these changing times. Picture going to bed at night with a smile, feeling proud of how you spent your day, connected to God and spirit and your loved ones, rather than crying or feeling empty. That's what's possible for you soon. If you're feeling that call right now, even if it's a bit scary, just put your hand on your heart and say quietly to yourself, it's my time. We just finished Secret 3, Why You Must Change Now. Awakening is possible and powerful. Recap the 3 secrets. We just talked about the 3 secrets to reclaiming your soul. Recognize the real cause of your pain. Understand what is at stake. Awakening is powerful and possible. But if you decide to ignore your soul, here's the consequences of ignoring the soul. Ignoring the soul leads to anxiety, depression, numbness, repeating patterns, disconnection, loss of joy, and purpose. What healing really means is healing is liberation. It's not perfection. Healing is not curing. My late husband I talked about had diabetic neuropathy. And while I could lay my hands on his hands and feet to get rid of the pains of the neuropathy, it didn't mean I could cure his diabetes. So realize that there is healing to be done. Curing is not up to me. That's up to the greater power, the universal life force, energy, God, spirit, whatever term fits your theology. The transformation, imagine feeling after your soul awakening, peace, lightness, joy, clarity, purpose, connection. I don't know of anyone who's going to pass up an opportunity to express a great soul awakening that can have peace, joy, clarity, purpose, healing, and connection. Do you? Can you picture that? What would it mean for you to wake up with peace in your heart each day? What would it feel like to experience deep peace, abundance of joy, super clear clarity, to know your purpose at this time in your life and to be deeply healed? Doesn't that sound wonderful? In the Great Soul Awakening program, we dive deeper into this transformation. The Great Soul Awakening is a holistic program spread over several weeks. We are going to start talking about the Great Soul Awakening. Okay, Teresa, what is this Great Soul Awakening? Now we are going to start talking about the Great Soul Awakening. Okay, Teresa, what is this Great Soul Awakening? I just covered why you are here, introduced myself, qualifications, why that matters, talked about the 3 secrets to reclaiming your soul. I am going to introduce the Great Soul Awakening, signs you are ready for a Great Soul Awakening, what healing means, and so much more. Centuries past, we have had great spiritual awakenings. That deals with the outside. Walk the aisle, give your life to Christ. This is outward focused. I'm challenging you to look inward. What is really troubling your soul? Where do you feel out of alignment? Alignment for a chiropractor refers to the process of realigning the spine and joints to their proper position, which is crucial for maintaining a healthy musculoskeletal system, relieving pain, and improving mobility. Soul alignment is the process of living in accordance with your deepest trust and authentic self, where your daily actions, thoughts, and feelings are in harmony with your core values and purpose. This alignment can lead to a greater sense of peace, joy, and meaning, and involves shedding limiting beliefs, fears, and past programming that no longer serve you. In this Great Soul Awakening program, we are going to get your soul back in alignment. Through classes, counseling, and group input, we are going to be supporting you through all your changes. The Great Soul Awakening program is a 6-month transformational program where we're going to have deep transformational coaching calls where we heal wounds and awaken your purpose step by step. So private sessions, 2 75-minute one-to-one sessions per month, 12 total. We're going to create a personalized roadmap after our first session outlining exactly what to focus on to reach your peace and joy so you're never guessing or overwhelmed. You're going to have email and text in between support, email and text support between sessions. If you got a tough day or a question as you process your emotions, you're going to have direct access to me via email or text throughout the program, so you're fully supported at all times. We're going to have a community Facebook group, an anchor event, a one-time virtual half-day retreat. You've carried this pain for decades. 6 months of healing is a beautiful gift to your future self. This is the first time that you can be held instead of holding everyone else. I know you've been strong for everyone. Now it's your turn. After the program, you're going to be invited to our alumni circle where you can share and get support from others on this path. This is a lifelong support system. The 4 stages that we are going to be going through are: we're going to release past pain, we're going to reclaim your truth, clear karmic patterns, restore relationships and purpose. Your bonuses: I have a Heal to Healer book that I wrote myself, emotional mastery library, and sacred oils for soul healing. Who this is for? This is for women who are ready to heal deeply, break old patterns, reconnect to themselves, live with peace and clarity, and step into their purpose. You spent a lifetime being strong for everyone else. Here you finally get to be held. This is a safe, private place where your heart is protected and honored. Healing deserves privacy. All sessions are confidential and nothing is shared with any organization, church, or group. This is your sacred sanctuary. Functioning is not the same as feeling whole. You deserve more than survival. You deserve joy, peace, and lightness again. I have worked with women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and sometimes the most profound awakening happen later in life when the soul is finally ready. This is gentle healing, not overwhelming healing, step by step, at your pace, with full support. You have carried your pain for decades. Giving yourself 6 months of loving attention is a sacred gift to your own soul. Take a deep breath. Put your hand on your heart for a moment. You have spent years, maybe decades, carrying pain that no one sees. You've survived losing people you love. You've been strong when your heart was breaking. You've handled everything alone because you had to. But your soul is tired of carrying all of it. And here is the truth. You don't have to keep doing this alone. The Great Soul Awakening was created for women just like you, women who have lived deeply, loved deeply, and lost deeply, and are finally ready to feel whole again. This is a 6-month sacred journey where you will release old pain safely and gently, reconnect with God on your own terms, reclaim your identity and purpose, heal at the soul level, and experience peace again. You get private one-on-one sessions, group sessions, support between sessions, and a safe space where your heart is fully held. You deserve this. Your soul deserves this. It is time. If something inside you is stirring, this is your awakening beginning. Those who take action are the ones who get results. I've opened up some spots in the next few days, especially for those of you on this training. Take advantage of it while it's fresh in your heart. If you're not able to schedule right this second, I'll also send an email with the scheduling link, but I encourage you to do it now if you can. Strike while the iron is hot, as they say, because we've got that soul inspiration flowing right now. Everything we discuss on the call is completely private, just between you and me. It is a sacred, safe space. On this call, you will identify the main soul wound holding you back, receive my expert insight on what your next step should be, get all your questions answered about the Great Soul Awakening journey. You've invested this time in yourself today. Don't stop here. This call is the logical next step to make that investment count. I only invite people to work with me if I'm confident I can help you get those outcomes I promised. If I feel it's not a fit or that something else would serve you better, I'll be honest about that. My priority is truly your healing. Everything you tell me is held with the utmost confidence and emotional safety. I don't discuss what we discuss with anyone else. Functioning does not equal healed. Independence isn't freedom. Decades-old pain doesn't go away on its own. I've worked with people facing all kinds of loss and trauma, from losing a spouse or child to childhood abuse to sudden life changes, and I've seen each find healing through this framework. Your details might differ, but the soul speaks a common language of healing. On our call, we'll address your personal story, and you'll see there's a path for you just as there was for them. The goal is not to re-traumatize you, but to help you release the hold. The goal is not to re-traumatize you, but to help you release the hold those memories have on you. We don't dive in recklessly. We move at the pace of trust. I have techniques to ensure that when we revisit a past hurt, it's done from a place of strength and with God's comfort, not raw and alone. Many are surprised that the process, while emotional, is also very freeing and not as frightening as they imagined. And remember, I'm right there with you every step, and you are in control. We only go as far as you are ready to. So while, yes, we address the roots, we do so with utmost care, and the outcome is that those memories lose their power over you, replaced by peace. I work with a maximum of 5 clients at once to ensure you get my full energy and attention. If after our first 2 sessions you don't feel this is absolutely right for you, you can withdraw and get a full refund. No hard feelings. I only want you in the program if you're truly getting value. Many people spend $10,000+ on medical bills or years of therapy dealing with the symptoms of what we solve at the soul level, or they spend years in pain, which costs immeasurable unhappiness. By contrast, this program is a fraction of that cost and yields results in a matter of weeks, not years. We women have had to keep it together for our families when we endured the loss of our spouse. We are women who have survived widowhood, caregiving, trauma, and decades of emotional suppression. I have also lost a husband and had to endure all of these situations myself. Being vulnerable does not mean you are breaking down. It may mean that you are coming back together. Instead of falling apart, you are falling back together again. We are going to move at your pace, not mine. The time is now. Even though you have handled everything yourself for a decade, it does not mean you feel like you have it all together yet. I'm here to help you unravel what is still feeling stuck in your soul. Many women tell me, Teresa, I don't want someone I know to see inside my heart. That is why this journey is private, confidential, and sacred. Scan the QR code to book your call to find out more. This is your free 30-minute soul awakening consultation. I know some of you might want to pray or sleep on it. That's okay. Just know the sooner you schedule, the better. Just know that the sooner you schedule, the better. And I'll send an email too so you can have my contact information handy. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I honor you for caring for your soul. I truly hope to speak with you personally and walk with you on this journey. God bless.